There's three elements to my career. One of them has been conducting research on yoga, and I've conducted clinical trials of yoga for insomnia, for post-traumatic stress disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, for performance anxiety, and we've also done studies on yoga in public schools and yoga in the workplace. And the definition I want to define is what we mean by the word yoga. There's so many different styles and different applications of yoga that this is necessary, so we know what we're talking about when I say yoga. Now, of course, yoga is the postures and exercises, and some people practice nothing but the postures and exercises, and they call that yoga, but really that is technically limited yoga, because traditionally yoga incorporates not just these postures and exercises, but also the pranayama practices, the deep relaxation techniques, and very importantly, the meditative component. What is the act of meditation? In meditation, we focus our attention in a relaxed, non-analytical way. And I think, unfortunately, there's a misrepresentation of what meditation is in the general population. People sort of watch television, there's a news article on meditation and how good it is for you, so they go into the bedroom, why not meditate? So they sit down and they start focusing on the breath, and then 10 seconds later they're thinking about tomorrow, yesterday, and they focus again, and then another 10 seconds and their mind wanders. And then they come out of the bedroom and say, I can't meditate. And it's over. That was it. Nobody told them that this mind wandering is part of the experience. One of the problems with this kind of media portrayal is that it suggests to the general public that this is what yoga is. Something that's practiced by rich, white, elegant females, very bendy in leotards. And that is a problem for those of us who are trying to promote yoga to the whole population, because it conveys the image that only these can practice yoga. So men don't practice, the elderly don't practice, children don't practice, people with diseases don't practice. We as the yoga community really are trying to dissuade the public from that view of what yoga is. In fact, the people who need yoga the most, the lower socioeconomic status of society, are the ones that are getting it the least, because they have the least knowledge, the least accessibility to yoga. So that is a form of social injustice. It's a major problem in yoga. Only the privileged are practicing yoga to a large degree. One of the impetuses to yoga research was the appearance of these master yogis. And people from Europe would travel to India, and they would see on the street corners these fakirs, these yogis, doing these fantastic feats, demonstrating enormous tolerance to pain, getting buried in a pit underground for 3 weeks and coming out alive, claiming that they could achieve these altered states of consciousness, claiming that they could stop their heartbeats. And so we see some of that early study devoted to tracking down these advanced yogis and seeing what was going on. This was a team of Indian researchers who had emigrated to the United States, one from UCLA and one from the University of Michigan. They went back to India with all of this recording equipment you see here, and they traveled all over India for a year. And they hunted down all of these master yogis. And what they concluded from that extensive study was that physiologically, yogic meditation represents deep relaxation of the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system was called autonomic because it was automatic. It automatically did what it did, and you had no control over it. And here are these yogis with these trainings in yoga that now have the ability to control that system. And that introduces a major construct in the field of behavioral medicine, mind-body medicine, and certainly of yoga. And that construct is called self-regulation of internal state. The ability to develop control over internal functioning, both physical and psychological. Now, why is that important? Well, in modern medicine, that construct is virtually absent. In modern medicine, you get diagnosed and the doctor does something to you. Gives you a pill, gives you a surgery, and the patient is not expected to have any control over internal functions. The autonomic nervous system is one of the systems in our body that regulates the stress and emotion response. It has a sympathetic branch, which is the activating part, and a parasympathetic branch, which is the deactivating part. And there's also stress hormones, adrenaline and noradrenaline, that are associated with the system. So they're able to control one of the stress response systems. The other thing that's come out in more recent research is that they're also able to control the other stress system, which is in the body, which is called the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. And the output of that system is the stress hormone cortisol. So they're able to control the stress and emotion response systems. Now, why is that significant? Well, in modern medicine, we don't have anything that can do that. There's no drugs that can do that. There's no way to control stress. It's such a fundamental experience, and yet modern medicine has nothing to do that. So yoga's got something that modern medicine simply doesn't have. And the biggest burden in modern medicine and in modern society with respect to health is an epidemic. And this epidemic is called non-communicable diseases. And these are lifestyle diseases. They are chronic diseases. They are cardiovascular diseases, cancer. Cancer is 50% preventable. Respiratory diseases, diabetes, other NCDs such as obesity, hypertension, depression. 15 million people will die each year from NCDs in the prime of their lives. And here's the kicker. Most of these deaths tomorrow can be avoided. These are largely preventable diseases because they are related to lifestyle choices. The problem is that in this space of difficulty to change behavior, aligning with that is modern medicine's focus on treatment rather than behavior change. But when it comes to lifestyle disease, pills and surgery, what are they doing? They may be treating the symptoms, they're not treating the underlying disease. And that's the problem. If you can't prevent these lifestyle diseases or treat the underlying risk factors, you're not solving the problem. So yoga is not something that comes automatically. It's something that we have to be taught and we have to learn. It's a mind-body practice. Because you improve your sensitivity to your behaviors, you now change your behaviors. It makes you become more sensitive to your own behaviors. So the positive behaviors are reinforced and you gravitate towards more of them, obviously, because it feels good, you want to do more of it. And the negative behaviors, you can't tolerate them anymore, so you stop doing them. That is behavior change, not from the top down, you must do this. This is the laundry list. It's from the bottom up. I need to change, I want to change. That's why yoga has what modern medicine does not have. It has that strategy for successful behavior change. And I will add spirituality in here because this whole change from a materialistic goal in life to non-materialistic goal in life is not insignificant. It's associated with a substantial change in stress. It's a change in a very significant way in one's respect for life and one's body. And that respect for the body translates to the environment. People become more aware of their connection to themselves and their bodies, and they start respecting their bodies more than they did before. We're talking about when you change the individuals, you then start to change the whole societal experience and the whole society.